Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 44. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report, where we have plenty of news, plenty of updates. This extended version here also covers a few more things. I'm going to tell you a bit more about that. But we have now entered a new month and also a new week in here again for week 44, where we have released the Bell Trader. So Expert Forex have actually done the final testing of the Bell Trader in here. It is now out for sale. It's also on a discounted price at the moment. So go and have a closer look at that. We're going to have obviously a bit more talk about it, and you will definitely hear more also in the future on this particular channel. It is a very interesting EA. We're also going to go through what we have actually set up in the past week. This is an EA that we almost discarded. Then we had another look at it and decided, okay, let's set up 16 new accounts of $1,000 each. Well, you can basically trade it on $1,000. They are on $10,000 accounts, but that means that they will be entered into the coupling service if they actually prove to be worth anything, similar to what we have seen with the past EAs. So that is good news if you are looking at some good settings. And we're also going to have a look at the monthly results. All of the monthly results is in for October. They're looking extremely good. We have a lot of monthly profits that are covering 15, 20, and even some EAs has up to more than 30% in just a single month. These EAs are working extremely fine. We are constantly trying to fine-tune them, and with new tools all the time here, also making sure that we have lower drawdown, higher profits. So we're going to have a look at all that through this particular video here. And also Expert Forex and Alex has again a couple of videos we're going to have a look at. This particular one here is very interesting because this has led to some of the new strategies that we are also using in here. And obviously we're going to have a talk about that. But first we're going to start off with Yieldnodes. So with Yieldnodes, there's not much actually happening other than if you go on the Yieldnodes website itself. As usual, you can see everything is set in stone at the moment. Yieldnodes NFT has been claimed from our particular site here. So I took that into my wallet a long time ago. We have to wait until everything comes back and running again. And obviously, since there's no news, the best place to go is having a look at the audit coin reserves that I've shown you down here. Last week we set this particular one up, so you can see there's actually something still happening within Yieldnodes. So this is for week 43. We can see the total coins. So this is not the money, but this is the coins in here. And you can see it's gone up from week 43 to week 44 in here. And our interest is normally lying on the PNY. So 222 was the masternodes running last week. Now it's 225. So an additional 3 has actually been added in the past week. If we have a look at SAP down here, it's 3,634, and now it's up to 3,658. So again, there seems to be a good development on the coin side, but as long as the value is not there, it doesn't really matter too much that you have another 24 masternodes. And if you go and have a look at some of the other ones and compare them, you can also see here that they have been on the move. The staking balance of the initial coins so is pretty much set in stone. That doesn't change at the moment. It's only the masternodes running. And the reason most probably is because the value again is pretty much zero all the way through. When we have a look at it, this where we left it last week, so on the 28th. Since then, very little trading has actually been happening. It's going pretty much sideways and ended up in again with about 7 zeros and a 2 in here. So pretty much no news. Now, in the meantime, we have said many times that you can go and stake your coins instead of selling them. Wait for something actually good and positive to happen. If it doesn't, well, you haven't really lost any more than you already have you now? So again, put them in on the staking. That's what we have done, except for this particular week in here. This was actually last week's one, so we haven't gotten anything so far, which is obviously a bit annoying. But anyway, it is what it is at the end of the day. So, but that also means that for the week itself, we have 0.0% or 0 SAP in here. Normally they come in at 280 in blocks all the way through. but that's unfortunately has not been the case this far around. Now, if we go to the PNY in here, then we'll notice that the staking and the default staking you have is 133. We actually have 2 from the last week. The week before, it was basically 23rd of October. 5 days later, cashed in, and then actually 2 times within the same day. So very, very nice. And that also means that we ended up for the week at 1.1% or 266 PNY. Also making October quite a reasonable month. I would say average again overall. Average is pretty much also what we have with Bitcoin, because we left it last week just south of 69,000 and about 68,500 or 600, I believe, where you see the red circle in here. Since then, it did have a nice little breakout all the way up past 73,000, bobbed around there for a while. And now it's pretty much back on the same level as where we left it last week. At the moment, as we're shooting this particular video here, 68,720. So still very good, high value. And this is certainly one of the highest peaks we've seen in a long time. So with Bitcoin, so great to see that it's still moving upwards from time to time. Trillant news, well, there's not too much news. We have already advised you here that the website itself and the platform here will be shut down and will be online, as it says in here, from November 1st. So hopefully you managed to back up your data. We have certainly tried to advise you on this particular one in here. One of the new things that has come out is basically through the Telegram platform in here. And again, saying, unfortunately, we noticed many users did not enter their data correctly. So all concerned users have been contacted by email to make sure that the TON address for the first airdrop is correct. So if in doubt, please go and have a look at your emails to see if anything in there has shown up. If you're not sure about the setup itself, then obviously you have to go back and talk to your sponsor in here to see how they can help you the best way possible. But so far we haven't gotten any airdrops. Hopefully we'll see it in the coming week. Also, if we have a look at the tree coin, which obviously now will be replaced, we can see that that has gone completely flat, and it's pretty much also at the same level as it was from last week, where again we have point and then 4 zeros, 213, and it just dropped slightly down here to point and then 4 zeros, 201. So obviously this, we don't expect anything to move anymore until we have the new airdrops of the TON token in here. So hopefully we'll have something already by next week, but it depends on if the team is ready for this or not. We are ready, however, for the Trade Explorer. Again, for week 44, the 10 pair one is doing quite well, and this is a bit more average of what we normally see, $241 or 2.4%. So that has done quite well, but have a look and see exactly how the Trade Explorer is done for October. So a massive $2,953 or 29.5%, so almost 30% in just 1 month from this extraordinary EA. If we go and have a look at the history of it itself, we started off with a demo account in here. You can see it's a demo account of $10,000. This is on the copy link service, and now up at 41,923. Equity is pretty much the same, minus the floating profit and loss of $41.52 in here. So extremely good and stable all the way through. Total return so far 275.9%. And then we have a monthly return of 7.5 and a weekly return of 1.7. And this is again without increasing the lot size. That has not been changed because again, we are using this particular signal for the coupling service. If you would have increased your lot size based on your new account size, you will obviously have made a lot more. Look at the trade wins, extremely good, 75.3%, so very, very high. And also trades per day, 11.9. So it's not the most active of all our EAs, but it's certainly active enough to make a lot of money. And then the history of this, 539 days. So we got plenty of data over time. And if we have a look on the weekly results in here, you can see 241. The past weeks was a bit slow, 151, 144, And then in the beginning here of October, we made a massive 2086. It did also have a heavy drawdown at the time. And then when this particular EA has a heavy drawdown, it comes out with a big cash at the end of the day. So on a monthly basis, again, see how this is actually working, 2,953. So that is pretty much almost the best that we have seen. We have to go all the way back to more than a year ago. So July 2023, where it made 3,553 in here. But normally it's cashing in close to about 1,000. So the lowest ones we have is 800, 892, 880. So about 8-9%. So is the low part for this particular EA, which is definitely not too bad. If we go and have a look at the Wave Liberator for week 44, the top 5 EAs we have in here, they also did quite well. And as you can see, they're extremely tight. Aussie USD comes in at $67 or 6.7%. Aussie Japanese, $62 or 6.2%. Great British Pounds Japanese, $62 or 6.2%. And also US Japanese, $62 or 6.2%. So a lot of Japanese currencies all ending up in the same range. New Zealand CAD coming in slightly lower at $47 or 4.7%. But again, if you would have traded these 5 accounts on a $1,000, you would have made $301 overall for the $5,000 you would have put in and made 6% overall. That is very, very strong numbers when you're just looking at 1 week. So let's go and have a look what happens when we look at the entire month of October. For the top 5 EAs, we actually have here Euro USD with $252 or 25.2%. So that is the high jumper for this week's or this month Wave Liberator. We have Aussie Japanese $250 or 25%. New Zealand CAD $241 or 24.1%. Aussie CAD $228 or 22.8%. And then Euro Great British Pounds $219 or 21.9%. And astonishing again here for the entire month. So if you had these top 5 in here with $5,000, you would have made $1,191 or 23.8%. Extremely high return for these particular EAs. And as they still, most of them have a very, very good low drawdown ratio. If we have a look at all of the individual EAs, we have 22 accounts set up. You can see the balance should have been started off with 220. It's now 253,000. Equity is 245 because we have a floating profit and loss like we always have on these particular EAs of about 8,532. But the close profit is 29,900. So very close to the 30,000 mark now. Good to see. And we also have plenty of margin. Total returns 16.1%, monthly returns 1.2%, and weekly returns 0.3%. And again, if you now traded instead of the $10,000 accounts that we have on here, you traded on $1,000. So then you will have 12% and 3%. So on the monthly and the weekly results, trade wins are a nice strong 67.4%. Plenty of pips have actually been made also here, more than 35,000. And trades per day for this particular EA is on average 14.2 with a history of 443 days. Extremely strong. We really, really like this EA. And you can find a lot more details on the individual currency pairs. Simply click on them. It'll take you to FX Blue. And from there on, you can see how well they've done, the drawdowns, all the details that you actually want to see. But we also want to see exactly how well it's done this week, 632 overall, and then compare it to the prior week. So very similar to last week and the week before. Very small mood swings basically from this EA. We did have something back in September, and we had the highs with the Forex market going totally crazy back in July with 1,400, 1,700. But this particular level here is quite normal, and this is basically where we expect it to be when the market sort of kind of behaves. If we then have a look at the monthly parts, then we'll see this has done extremely well for the month, 3,080. And if we compare that to the previous month, they are slightly lower, 2,500, 2,700, 2,600. And then again, we can see further ones going all the way back, 2,600. That was a good one also in April. So after we made some adjustments, you can see that the overall net profit has actually gone up. So that's how you actually see if things are working or not. Now we're also going to have a look at the RSI Liberator for week 44. Also extremely strong results here, as you can see. Great British Pounds, Japanese, $89 or 8.9%. Euro, Great British Pounds, $80 or 8%. Great British Pounds, so you notice 3 different Great British Pounds, and we have more to come with the Swiss franc, $72 or 7.2%. Aussie New Zealand, $54 or 5.4%. And the last Great British Pounds, CAT, $50 or 5%. Overall, these top 5, $345 or 6.9% is also some incredibly strong results when you're considering, again, this is only for 1 week on $1,000 accounts. RSI Liberator, also the results for October is extremely strong here. Great British Pounds, Japanese, $370 and all the way up to 37.0% just for 1 month. It is a highly volatile one. And Great British Pounds, Swiss francs right after, $271 or 27.1%. Aussie Japanese, $260 or 26.0%. Great British Pounds CAT, 210 or 21%. And then we end up with Euro Great British Pounds, a bit lower, 160 at 16% overall for the monthly profits. Again, if you have these top 5 EAs in there on 5 $1,000 accounts, overall your portfolio would have made $1,271 or 25.4%. So definitely something to be happy about. Happy is also these particular graphs again in here, apart from what was broken with the IG accounts in here. So they were making money all the way through, and you can see it on the balance. Again, we have 22 accounts of $10,000. So we are now having up to 237,800 with an equity of 229, almost 230,000. Floating profit and loss is under control, minus 7,836. So closed profits, 15,785. Very good development. Monthly returns is slightly lower on this particular one and was influenced by what happened actually in this particular month. It looked like almost all the profit was wiped out the way the IT demo account update crashed, but 1% or 10% if you're $1,000 accounts, 0.2 if you're on our $10,000 accounts, or 2% on a weekly basis roughly. So on $1,000 accounts. Trade wins are good, 65.9%. Plenty of pips taken, 17,885. Trades per day is quite high, as you can see, 21 compared to the other ones we've gone through today. Of a history of 212 days. So plenty of data in here and plenty of data also on our website again, where we are now adding further of these new RSI Liberator accounts on the coupling service. We are marking them up in here. We were supposed to do even more over the weekend, but unfortunately, because we had some issues with the setups for one of the items we're going to talk about a bit later on today here for the lucky trader, then this didn't actually happen, but I'll make sure that we send everything off to Expert Forex. We have plenty of good accounts at the moment here. It's doing extremely well with low drawdowns. That should be accepted. Now let's go and have a look also for the entire month again. So this is for the portfolio. Also this one is good and up, 637 compared to last week's 584, the prior week of 539, 438. So again, very good numbers, and look at the graph, extremely well, just going up, up and up. And we also want to see for the monthly results. Now the monthly results is not the best. We can see July was one of the better ones with the high fluctuation in the Forex market. But that being said, having a look again for October, 2,698, simply cashing in every single month. Also here, the changes that we have made, as you'll notice, so they are good and stable and continue to rise while the drawdown is still very much under control. So you can find a lot more details on our website. We keep saying that because this is the best place to actually go and see our EAs and try and work it out for yourself, which ones you want to buy, which ones you might want to do copy link service on, or which ones you simply just want to have some inspiration from. Everything is for free. You can go with the Wave Liberator, RSI Liberator, or you can also, if you are not interested in trading yourself, go to the PAMM account in here where we will do the trading for you. And that looks something like this. Again, for the first time, if you haven't seen this particular graph, this is not losses. This is basically just withdrawals from investors that are taking out their investments. So this is quite usual. As we go along, you'll see some small little bumps here and there. And that is actually the reason why. And at the end of the day, obviously people want to make sure that they are risk-free. So this particular week, we are very low of 1,688. And the reason for that is, again, we have some withdrawals that are coming in. Another withdrawals of about 4,000 in here. There has been also deposits, but unfortunately, funny enough, the FX Blue doesn't really calculate that. All it does is put the monthly returns actually a bit lower instead, because now you have more money in the account, and that now means that the new calculation is done with that money in there, even though we haven't traded it yet. But the withdrawal, you're actually pulling out the profits that we had in here. So most probably, depending on how long this money has been in here, might have been 50% that we have made for these investors already. So that would mean around 3,500 for the week. Now we also need to go and have a look at the monthly part. Also here it's a bit low, 7,387. Doesn't mean that we stop trading anything else, but it has something to do with, again, that the profit is being pulled out of the platform itself when FX Blue comes in and tries to analyze this. You can see investors has taken out withdrawals because this has now been pretty much running for more than 6 months, as you can see, all the way back in March. So we already have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So it's quite usual that investors starts pulling a bit of money out to make sure that they are risk-free over time. Obviously, we prefer small little amounts because it's a lot easier to trade that way. But the withdrawals here of more than 27,000, again, if this has already made 50% for the investors after the 8 months, basically the calculation should be that you had another about 13,000 in here on top of the 7. That would make it 20,000. I don't believe it's that high. So that seems a bit too high again, but it's extremely difficult to calculate at the end of the day based on all these withdrawals that are coming out. Deposits was not much for the month, as you see actually in this particular week. So some of it has just come in. So that's good to see. Some people are now starting to reinvest, and also some of the new ones are just learning the platform. If we go and have a look and see how things have been going on, we can see all the PAMM accounts in here of a total of 577, and you'll be right if you think that that's lower than last week. It definitely is. You can see how much that our investors has taken money out in here, and obviously there's other accounts too where people are starting to take a bit of money out. The gains overall in here compared to what we have. So again, current balance 268 from our side, and we made more than 86,000 so far. If we had to calculate also all the different things that was taking out and the money that the investors would have had instead, we'll probably be past 100,000 already. Gains, it's saying 32.1%. Again, the gains are going down when the investors are removing the money. That's why it comes very, very difficult to calculate. Drawdowns are also still under control, and also in the percentage-wise, ours has also gone down a bit, and the projected annual growth is also actually taking a hit every single time people are taking money out. So if we have a look from the prior week, so first of all, this is ours, what it looked like. So a bit more money in the account, even though people have done withdrawals. The gains has also increased, as we said, even though, and also the percentage gains, the drawdown is down. So percentage-wise, and you can see the projected annual growth has actually gone down, even though we're making money. So that confuses a lot of people. If we have a look at the overall portfolio in here, you'll notice that actually this week it's about 5,000 lower than last week in here. But again, plenty of gains, also percentage, so very similar in here. Drawdown is down also from more than 200,000 to 180. So everything is going in the right direction. And that takes us to the next part for the lucky trader. So last week I did mention we might want to shut this one down. We only had a few accounts left to actually run on, and let's go through them first, where we have the lucky trader for week 44, the top 5 EAs, and these particular 3 that we had left was Euro, Great British Pounds, which continues to do extremely well with $494 or 4.9%. Then we had Euro Swiss francs, which again seems to have lost out again with a minus $9 or minus 0.1%. And then we have the Euro USD with $38 or 0.4%. And those 3 that we had left to compare with was basically $524 or 1.3%. So nothing much to go and compare with anymore. But let's quickly run over the October numbers also. As you can see, Euro Great British Pounds has done extremely well with $1,922 or 19.2%. So that setup really seems to work. We have the Euro USD, $309 or 3.1%. And then we have the Euro Swiss francs, $174 or 1.7%. All of this is actually calculated on a $10,000 account. So if you would have done those, you would have made $2,405 or 8% in a month. And if we just have a look, I showed this one also last week. Again, the balance, we have 3 accounts of 10,000. The rest has crashed and burned a long time ago. And that's why we said, okay, maybe this is not for us. But we had a closer look and see the ones, how they are working. 9% in total returns, monthly returns, still a bit low because we have one that is pulling it up, another one pulling it down. 4.6 weekly returns, 1.1. Trade wins are actually still okay with 65%. Trades per day is quite low, so that is 8.4. And then we have a history of 136 days in here. So obviously that looked pretty okay, but at the end of the day, it has gone down because less and less EAs has actually been in there. So even 523 was actually quite good for that particular EA, even last week also. So there has been some light at the end of the tunnel. If we have a look also on the monthly profits, you'll actually notice that that has gone up, even though that some of the accounts have blown over time. So we had a closer look into it to see if we could actually make this work based on some of the new information we have. And that's why now you'll see on our website, we have 16 EAs. So all these have now been set up. They are on $10,000 accounts, but they are being traded similar to the Wave and the RSI Liberator in here, as they should be traded on $1,000 accounts. We're going to be excited to see how that goes. We are using a new system that we picked up from Expert Forex and Alex on the Bell Trader. We are trying to accommodate also with a new tool where it tells us how much things are trending, the different currency pairs, and then we are adapting our strategy into this. These are the first numbers that we have in for this particular portfolio. You can already go and see that on our website now. It says history here is 4 days old. It's because we set it up on Friday, where we didn't trade it, but did all the setups. We had some issues on the IG demo accounts with the broker. We had to try and solve that together with the EA Factory and Expert Forex. And we figured out that basically the issue lied with the IG demo accounts again. And on the build version itself, that had some issues basically adapting to the EA. Since then, as you can see, everything is running quite fine. And by the way, thank you very much for EA Factory and Tibor here to support us all the way through this process. We haven't really seen any of these issues here before, but we are glad we got it all sorted. And as you can see now, you can enjoy the details and information. So these are just some of the EAs that are now running. There's 16 in total, balance of 16 accounts of $10,000 each. And you'll notice also here you have a small floating profit and loss. Again, because they are doing grid trading as such, then that is quite normal. Monthly returns already calculated at 0.7, or if you're on a $1,000 account, 7%. So that's quite high. When you are taking into account that we didn't actually do anything for the first 3 days, weekly returns 0.2. The trade wins are extremely high. We'll see if that's going to stay up there, 73.7%. And then it says trades per day, 15. But again, obviously, very, very early days. Next week, the numbers hopefully will stabilize a bit more. We get a better idea of what exactly is happening. Now, all these things and the new bell trading robot that has been released makes our weeks and months very, very exciting at the moment. So the bell trader, which also comes from Expert Forex and is a continuous development since we started off with the profit retriever. So some of the things I have mentioned in the videos here before, and this comes down to the logic of this particular one, where again comes into a statistical setup where you are dividing it into 3 different levels and within deviations, and all the trading, for example, in here takes place 68% within the first deviation, which is the dark blue one, and then 95.4% takes place within the light blue one and the dark blue one. So that is pretty much all of it is taking place within that range and section. And the last part, in the 99.8 within the third deviation. So very, very rarely will you see the price movements go outside of these particular areas. And that is part of what is actually happening. So with the bell trader, where we're going to set this up in the future, most probably on different timelines, we'll have to wait and see what are the best results. Now, and that actually leads me to this particular video in here for the automated channels, and this works exactly the same way as the bell trader. There is an indicator, and that is the one that you can download for free as per Alex's video. I'll make sure that the links are in the video description below as usual. But this is exactly how the bell trader is built up, that you have a middle section in here where the price will basically go around like busy little bees, and then from time to time they might travel out on the outer edges, but statistically we know that they will normally always come back in here again. So very, very interesting video if you are interested in the bell trader. And also here Alex has a second one, learn 12 ways to make the martingale method 100% safe. Obviously nothing is always 100%, but if you follow some of the advice in here, again, set up, which comes from some of the new tools that he has developed in here. And if you try and follow that, which we are also definitely looking into and analyzing and changing, and some of the parts is actually directly involved with the new Lucky Trader in here, then hopefully you will also be a bit wiser, similar to us. And that's what we have for you in this week's news report. As you can see, things are going well. Some of the platforms, yes, for sure, something like Yieldnodes and Trillant, we'll have to see exactly what's going to happen in the future. So we are way overdue for all these items actually coming back and producing something again. But the rest of it, all our Forex trading, you can see it's moving in the right direction. It is cashing in every single week, every single month. And that's what this particular channel here is all about, trying to show you there is actually a way of making a bit of money, similar to what we do. So the best place you can normally go is on our website. Go have a look at the individual EAs, click in on and see which currency pairs and everything else that you might trade for yourself in the future, and basically get some inspiration from there. So until next week, where we're going to come back with the latest and greatest news again, and hopefully also some updates on the Lucky Trader and the results in here. Until then, bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.